At Manhattan University, a graduate degree is not out of reach. You'll gain real-world skills, credentials employers value, and connections to New York City's top companies. Choose from their new Master of Science degrees in Healthcare Informatics, Digital Marketing and Analytics, Business Analytics, or Financial Analytics, all built around hands-on learning and industry partnerships. Graduate ready to lead, not just work. Take the next step at manhattan.edu/graduate. Manhattan University. Lead the future.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, more details coming out about these two wannabe bombers, these two guys who professed their desire and dedication and appreciation and affiliation with ISIS. Really frightening stuff. An 18 and 19-year-old who have been charged with putting weapons of mass destruction, causing mass harm. They are federal charges. And, of course, really frightening, right by Gracie Mansion during a protest with individuals that were against Zoran Mondani. And obviously, however you feel about those people that were protesting and some of the vile things that they were saying, suddenly these two guys came upon them and started throwing these devices. And thank goodness for the NYPD that took out those devices, brought in the bomb squad. And now the feds are investigating and also found in a storage locker and a whole bunch of others details, information, residue, plans. They were obviously planning a massive operation. And here's a little bit. This is yesterday during the press conference from FBI Special Agent in Charge, James Barnacle from New York.
My name is James Barnacle. I'm the Assistant Director in Charge of the FBI's New York Field Office. Today, alongside our partners in the New York City Police Department and the Southern District of New York, our office has announced federal terrorism charges against Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi. On Saturday, March 7th, these two individuals allegedly threw one suspicious device and attempted to throw another during a protest outside Gracie Mansion. As the commissioner noted, if it weren't for the bravery of two New York's finest, we could have had a much more tragic incident. Yesterday, on Sunday, March 8th, a third device was recovered from a vehicle on East End Avenue. Upon careful analysis by NYPD bomb techs and FBI Special Agent bomb technicians, it was determined these items were improvised explosive devices, IEDs, designed to inflict serious injury and death to those in the vicinity of the intended blast zone. Both subjects have stated they were inspired by ISIS, a designated terrorist organization, to conduct this attack. Balat and Kayumi sought to incite fear and mass suffering through this alleged attempted terror attack in the backyard of an elected city official. This weekend was just another example of the elevated threat environment we're currently living in.
And indeed, elevated threat level in a massive, massive scale. Here is NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch talking about how the lights are all going off, that this is really a time for concern.
I want to recognize the members of the NYPD who responded on Saturday and in the hours that followed. The officers assigned to that protest who ran toward a lit, improvised, explosive device, the bomb squad technicians who secured and analyzed the devices, the detectives and analysts who worked through the night to develop this investigation, and the countless members of service who helped ensure the security of the people of New York City during a very tense and dangerous situation. The NYPD remains on heightened alert, and our mission is simple, and that is to keep New Yorkers safe. That responsibility belongs to the nearly 35,000 members of this department who stand watch over this city and who are prepared to respond whenever and wherever.
And thank goodness that we have the NYPD. Thank goodness we have brave men and women who are running towards danger, because there's obviously, sadly, a lot of it these days. And just a little bit ago, the parents of one of these who is accused, tied to this bombing attack, well, they have spoken out, and it's pretty interesting because one of the things that they're saying is essentially that they thought their son had killed himself. They said he's the kind of guy that if he's missing for 5 minutes or if he's 5 minutes late for anything, he calls. That's what the father of Ibrahim Kayumi, he's the 19-year-old. Remember, it's an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old. And they said it was highly unusual that they were supposed to see him soon after 10:30 in the morning. They didn't see him. And then they filed a missing persons report. They were worried that he killed himself, which is also interesting. Why would they think that maybe he just went missing or something else happened to him, but that he killed himself? I'm curious what all of you think, how to read that one. And then it turns out he obviously paired up with this other guy. And then they came over the George Washington Bridge, came into New York, and then through these very dangerous devices. And now the father is saying, no, I didn't know anything about it. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they did. We don't know. They say they didn't know anything about it. The attorneys are also saying, at least the attorney for this young guy, the other one, says that they didn't know each other. So did they all meet online, at least these two individuals? And how many more are meeting online, planning sinister plots? It is a big, big concern. And it's something that everybody in law enforcement right now is very troubled by. Meantime, a lot of people are troubled by Zoran Mandani and the way he's been handling it. He finally put out a statement. And I wanted to read this to you because he went a little further. All right, he put a statement saying Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi have been charged with committing a heinous act of terrorism and proclaiming their allegiance to ISIS. They should be held fully accountable for their actions. It's an interesting statement because it's sort of disjointed. He doesn't condemn ISIS. He just condemns, their act of terrorism and then their proclaiming of allegiance to ISIS. It's interesting. So I want to have you guys interpret that. And in the meantime, he also continues to be asked by the media, and rightfully so, will you condemn ISIS? Will you condemn these guys' actions? And why did it take so long? Because at first he was blaming white supremacists as opposed to the people who were throwing the bombs. It was clear that they were ISIS sympathizers. And for some reason, Zoran Mandani acted like it was a trick question. Well, finally, a little bit ago, he answered some more questions about it. And I wanted to play this for you. This is Zoran Mandani asked about extremism and this recent attack.
So given that both of the alleged attackers at Gracie said they were inspired by ISIS, and given New York City's sort of perennial status as a soft target, I was wondering if you had any, words of advice to any young people who might find themselves being drawn to that particular ideology.
I think first and foremost, just to make it clear to everyone that extremism and hatred of any kind will not be tolerated in our city. And that is regardless of whatever ideology motivates any person to commit an act of violence. There is no tolerance for it here. What we want to deliver to New Yorkers is a city that is safe, is a city that believes in the values where everyone who calls it home is considered to be a part of it. There is no tolerance for any kind of violence within that vision of our city or the way in which we lead this city.
Thanks.
That was a lot of word salad. And if you want people to feel safe, well, then maybe you shouldn't be hosting the guy who is leading these pro-Hamas, anti-Israel protests on college campuses.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy.
Download and subscribe
at BeBullish.com.